The 2025 NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and for just the first time since Brandon Beane has taken over as general manager of your Buffalo Bills, 0 trades have been made since the NFL draft has concluded. This is only the 3rd time under his GM regime that a trade during the season has not gone down for your Buffalo Bills. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm pretty upset about it. With the Bills having holes at receiver, along the defensive line with all the injuries they're facing there, I thought this was the perfect time for Brandon Beane to go kick the tires on a trade, but he did not. The Buffalo Bills stood pat at the trade deadline. If you're upset, just like me, that the Bills did not go out there and improve their roster at the deadline here, make it known. Make Brandon Beane see this video with all the likes that we get down below. Smash that thumbs up icon if you are upset that the Bills did not go out there and trade for a receiver or any other position in need that they had. Because that was the rumor that was, kind of circulating this entire trade deadline cycle. The Bills are making calls on wide receivers. Wide receivers are kind of available this trade deadline cycle as well. Or so we thought. There were a couple of names that ended up actually getting dealt, but the big ones, really didn't in this one. And now the Bills face the rest of the season where they are kind of headlined by Josh Palmer and Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir once again. They have Dalton Kincaid back healthy, but the true boundary receivers are really not that great for Buffalo here. As far as some deals that did go down, we have some Bills trade targets that ended up moving teams here. Jakobi Meyers was a name who we had talked about, a name that Diana Rossini and multiple other NFL insiders have reported that the Bills had made a call on to Las Vegas, but he ends up going to Jacksonville here for a 4th and a 6th round pick. I saw some rumors that the Bills did not want to trade away multiple draft picks for any one of these players here, so maybe the added 6th round pick from Vegas, or from Jacksonville, I should say, is what got this deal done. And I say it's probably got the deal done for Rashid Shaheed as well, who went to the Seattle Seahawks here for a 4th and a 5th round pick. I'll take my L, right hand up. This is my big trade prediction for the Bills at the deadline, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I feel like they absolutely made an effort to go and get Rasheed Shaheed, but what we know is other teams were looking for Rasheed Shaheed as well, and the Seahawks weren't even one of the teams that we publicly knew about. The Broncos, the Steelers, and the Bills also were all known to be making calls to the New Orleans Saints about the receivers they had in tow. Shaheed ends up going to Seattle here, and he makes them a much more threatening contender in the NFC as well. So now you're stuck here with this wide receiver depth chart. And Josh Palmer is injured. If you guys didn't know, he's week to week here. He's practicing this week in anticipation of maybe returning against the Dolphins this week, but the same concerns are still there. The Bills on the boundary cannot separate. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not so sure that they can win a Super Bowl with the weapons that they have in tow right now. Like I said earlier, none of the big names ended up moving here. No Jalen Waddle trade, no Brian Thomas Jr. trade, no Garrett Wilson trade, and no A.J. Brown trade either. Now, Garrett Wilson wasn't necessarily a name that was popping up in the trade rumor mill a ton leading up to this deadline, but the Jets were going fire sale mode. We'll talk about those deals in a little bit, but he did not end up getting moved. No Brian Thomas Jr., no Jalen Waddle either. The Bills were looking at a potential wide receiver addition here late as the deadline was kind of getting to their final minutes here. They tried. Tim Graham of The Athletic, who really doesn't tweet a whole heck of a lot, said that keep an eye on Deebo Samuel and or Von Miller to Buffalo from Washington. Well, we know Von Miller already spent time with the Bills. It's not the most fondest memories from the Mafia there with his time in the 716, but Deebo Samuel was a name that they were looking at. And I'm not going to lie, I think that would have been an absolute disaster. Like, that would have just been dumb. For what reason would you bring in Deebo Samuel when you already have Deebo Samuel? I'd argue you already have a better Deebo Samuel in Khalil Shakir. You could argue maybe they want to expand his role as a downfield threat or something like that if they were to bring Samuel in here, but you're bringing in an absolute clone, a guy who's good for run after the catch and just kind of gadget activity there. What are the Bills going to do? Run 2 bubble screens from the slot? Like, it's not going to work here. The Bills needed to add a downfield field stretching threat, and they did not do so. Maybe it's because they think that they have one waiting in the wings on their practice squad here. Gabe Davis coming back from injury. He's back at practice. I guess they were seen content enough with Davis here waiting in the wings and recovering from his injury that he suffered last year, blew out his knee on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Could he be a part of this Bills active roster soon here with them not making a move from wide receiver at the deadline? Clearly they knew they wanted to improve, and they didn't go out there and make a trade, so some sort of roster kind of shakeup should be going on here soon, and it's probably going to be with Gabe Davis making his Bills debut for this on the 53-man roster. With that being said, with who the Bills have in tow right now, what's your confidence level in the Bills wide receiver room? Scale it for me down in the comment section. 1 being no confidence at all. This receiver room is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. And 100 being in the most confidence in the world. The Bills can absolutely still win the Super Bowl surrounded by these weapons. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Not only did the Bills not improve along their wide receiver room, they did not improve along the defensive line either. And that's unfortunate considering they have Ed Oliver on long-term IR, Michael Hoyt on long-term IR. I'm still shocked that Brandon Beane did not make a trade for the first time really ever in his tenure as Bills GM. We're going to talk about more of what the Bills really didn't do at the deadline. But first, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor, as this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather's changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So use Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game, where you can get $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5. Like I said, it's the best daily fantasy sports app because all you guys got to do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. It takes less than a minute to create a lineup, and you can watch your winnings in real time. They offer the best features too, like stacks, where you can take multiple stat projections from the same player and put it in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. It's also becoming a social event as well, where you can follow other creators, celebrities, your friends, even myself, and copy their lineups into your own using the feed tab here. I have a college basketball Prize Picks right here for you guys. Braden Smith in Purdue's season opener, I got set more than 6.5 assists for him. Trey Kaufman-Renn, a National Player of the Year contender, I got more than 27.5 points for him. And then Cam Boozer in his Duke Blue Devil debut, the talented freshman, I got more than 30 points plus rebounds. You can tell my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. That's code CLNS for $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5. Prize Picks. It's good to be right, and all that information is clickable in the comment section and description of today's video. Like I said, man, major injuries on this defensive line, and the Bills seem to be still confident in their unit that they have out there as it stands right now. Now, they do have a couple of guys who are injured right now, but are supposed to be coming back here in the near future. Daquan Jones, their nose tackle, their one tech. He went down with a calf injury a few weeks ago, but he is practicing at this point, and he looks to be ready to go for Week 10 and beyond. Deion Walker, the Bills' 4th-round rookie, he now elevates himself in this depth chart as Ed Oliver goes down for the majority of the rest of the season and into the postseason as well. Larry Ogunjobi comes in, and he'll play a lot of snaps as well, as he's recently coming off of suspension. But Michael Hoyt going down means that the depth on the edge is a lot worse now as well. Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau going to start there. A.J. Epinesa has been playing well, but Landon Jackson, the Bills' 3rd-round rookie, continues to get healthy scratches, and Javon Solomon isn't necessarily a huge impact player on the edge either. I thought they really could have went to that position for some improvement here along the defensive line. Other people around the NFL got better along the defensive line. And look, I get it. It's unfortunate that the team that ended up doing the fire sale and selling off all their studs was a team in your division in the New York Jets. Doesn't mean you couldn't have made this offer if you wanted to go out there and get Quinnen Williams. I'm sure they probably would have thought about it. Could have made an offer for other players out there along the edge in the defensive tackle spot in this league. Nobody was budging, I guess. Quinnen Williams goes out to the Dallas Cowboys now, and it just hurts knowing a name like this was open to be moved, and he ended up getting moved for a 1st and 2nd round pick, which I would 100% would have given up if I was Buffalo. And then you think about some other moves where people got better around the league. An AFC East team making a deal here, getting a 3rd-round pick in exchange for Jalen Phillips. So, yeah, the AFC East was active. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Bills were not one of those teams that were. Jalen Phillips is a name that I had as a potential Bills edge depth piece here to go out there and trade for. He's been coming along very, very awesome so far this year, even though he's been an oft-injured player. That may have scared Buffalo off in making a deal for Jalen Phillips, but Howie Roseman wasn't scared, and it's probably going to pay off for the Eagles, as it always does. The Bears went out and even made a trade. Like, you didn't even have to go out there and get a marquee guy. There were rotational pass rushers available out there, and all they had to do was swap a 6th and 7th round pick in order to get him. And your Bills stand pat when they need depth and need football players on both sides of the ball, quite frankly. And going back to the late rumors that they had there close to the deadline from Tim Graham and Deebo Samuel and Von Miller, I think that would have been a panic move too, to be quite honest. Von Miller was not good. He could have taken some snaps off of Joey Bosa's plate, but He's just not the player that he used to be. He's not the player that he was for the first 6 weeks that he was in Buffalo before that knee injury. It just really seems like Father Time has stopped at Von Miller here, and his best days of his career are behind him. It's not only teams acquiring talent at receiver. It's not only teams acquiring talent along the defensive line, but just straight up other AFC contenders got better around you. Like marquee players not named Quinnen Williams were also moved at this trade deadline. Yeah, Sauce Gardner got moved from the New York Jets to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks. I mean, I think the Jets did an amazing job this trade deadline. Quick sidebar there. But, man, the Colts are atop the AFC right now, and they clearly see that the time is now to strike. They go out there and get one of the best corners, one of the best all-around corners, one of the best man-to-man corners in all of football, and they're going all in for a Super Bowl push in your conference, and you didn't make any moves. I'm disappointed, guys. I'm just disappointed, but we'll talk about more improvements this roster can make, maybe some free agents that are out there, waiting in the wings, potentially some dark horses that could impact this team for the rest of the season. But I want to ask you guys this. With this roster as it currently stands right now, no trades made at the deadline, can the Buffalo Bills win the Super Bowl? Be honest for me. What do you guys think? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section. And make sure you give me a follow over on Twitter because we tweet about your Bills all the time. We live tweet all the games as well. Tweet now highlights, stats, and so much more. Give me a follow over at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's common, but I am not. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. YouTube.com/Bills News. The trade deadline is over, but that doesn't mean the coverage stops here on the channel. We've got your Bills covered all season long. We'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, let's go, Buffalo.